Hey, so one of my Twitch viewers was like, here's a month of free Nitro, but I am cool and have a social life, so don't need to show off to my Discord kitten. So I've left the link to it somewhere in the video. If you can find it, you can have it. Anyway, yeah, thanks to these guys for the suggestion. Load up Horizon Forbidden West. Start a new game. Welcome back. We're in Cyberpunk Jurassic Park. You're Aloy, an outcast hated by everyone due to your lack of a mum, but then after some pretty important stuff, I don't know, you're now more famous than a guy who does this. That's all the information you're getting out of me. If you want more, go watch my Zero Dawn video. After your work in the last game, you were rewarded with more work. Right now, you're looking for a backup of Gaia. What's Gaia, you ask? Well, I'm gonna pretend not to be hurt by the fact that you ignored my prompt to watch my Zero Dawn video and give you a brief explanation. Gaia is an AI that controls the world's ecosystems with robots, sort of like if ChatGPT became a gardener, and like ChatGPT, it's not perfect, so everyone's starving and animals are dying because of this red stuff. Intro done. Let's get down to business. You wake up from a nap and start exploring this lead you found, but it turns out you're not alone. There's this guy. Did I name him in the previous video? One sec. Oh, I did. It's Val. He's been following you for weeks, watching you from a distance, which isn't creepy at all.
Aloy, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here.
In a forest?
Yeah, like what are the chances?
Hi, since you've been following me for the last few weeks.
What? This is just my favorite forest. It has the best trees. Well, since I'm here, I guess I'll help you out.
Val invites himself on your little investigation. You give him a focus. What? You don't know what that is? If only there was somewhere you could go to find out. So this place you found is where the Gaia backup is supposed to be, and unless it's inside this metal ferret, it's not, then it's probably further inside. This facility is home to Far Zeniths, if this hologram saying welcome to Far Zeniths is anything to go by. Anyway, a group of guys beat you to this place. They also beat you to dying, so joke's on them. Whoever killed them went through this wall, so you make a grappling hook and follow it, because I too would like to go find the big scary thing that spits acid and kills people as a hobby. What a great idea that is. You learned that Far Zeniths had a plan to colonize another planet around the time of the robot apocalypse, but didn't get very far after their ship decided to cosplay as a firework. Oh, my bad. I forgot I left my meat lying around here. Turns out Far Zeniths stole Gaia from Zero Dawn. Then when you get into... Oh, damn it. I did it again. Unfortunately for you, my meat is heading in the same direction as you. What the fuck? It's not my meat, despite the huge similarities. It's three big snakes. I don't really know how these guys fit into the whole restoring Earth to normal task. They're sitting underneath a big ship, barely tethered on by a few wires, and while Val is smashing his two barely functioning brain cells together to figure out how to defeat them, you get to the top and wham bam, thank you ma'am, the ship starts to fall, and I guess Gaia forgot to program survival instincts into these things, cause one of them survives and you're forced into a meat versus metal brawl. I'm saying meat a lot in this video. With a few arrows in its various places, it dies. Or turns off, I don't know. Then you get to the data center, there's a backup of Gaia, game over, thanks for coming out. No, Zero Dawn put in a no steely thing, so Andrew Tate's scientist brother Travis Tate is like, if you don't speak sign language, that means that the Gaia backup isn't here. You exit the place and Val is like,
go find Sylens. He helped you last time.
By the way, if you don't know who Sylens is, you can go find out on my Zero Dawn video. He's been like a non-existent father since the last game, but Val reminds you of a guy in Meridian who can find people really well. Of course, Val knows the guy who's good at stalking people. It's a good job you went to Meridian, because they've got their own problems. The little container you stabbed in the last game that had the sentient ketchup in it started glowing. I don't know, lights are very scary. Especially that expensive check engine one on your 2005 Honda Civic. You pull out the spear that for some reason wouldn't come out last time. Perhaps you've developed your pull-out game since then. Anyway, you scan it and it's like, transmission sent, bitch. Before getting Thanos snapped. After seeing that, you're like, oh no, he did not. He didn't what? He didn't what? Whatever he did not makes you climb inside the tower and hack into it, because it's also a lift, and at the top you plug into it and it tells you where Sylens ran off to. Oh my god, he's gone west, no way. But Sylens with his fucking crystal ball predicted you'd come here and hit you with the FaceTime. Simply put, he rigged the lance to steal the ketchup. You're like, brother, that was low-key rather stupid. But he wanted to have a word with Hades about the signal that slapped it out of bed and where to find a Gaia backup. Pretty valid if you ask me. He calls you dumb in 6 different ways for 5 minutes, almost making you cry, and then he's like, I'm in the Forbidden West, come and find me. Sounds like a trap to me, but that's what the game's called, so fuck it. The West is home to a tribe that is as friendly as a midnight stroll through Manchester, but you can get passage through the peace talks conveniently happening in a couple of days. When Val falls asleep, you sneak out to the border. Bold of you to assume that'll stop him from tracking you for another 7 weeks. Just before the border, you find Studios Vwadis. He's like the referee for the peace talks, I think, and he won't go to the peace talks until the robots that are in the way are no longer in the way, and the captain tells him it's safe. Good thing think you have 20 years work experience killing robots then, isn't it? You find a guy who's like, yeah, the guy you're looking for went that way. How do you know who I'm looking for? You know, it's in my game code. Sure enough, it's Aaron. Remember that guy who was hitting on you when you were 18 and he looked like he was just shy of receiving his pension? Yeah, that Aaron. I'm curious to see how old he actually is. Hang on. He's in his mid-20s. I'm in my mid-20s, and I don't actually, you know what? Yeah, I see it. After beating a robot that hit him with the average Sunday League tackle, he takes his broken ribcage to Barren Light. That's where the peace talks are, by the way. You turn off some robots, return to Studious Moodius, who's like, I ain't moving till that whistle blows, because that's a sign of safety, and God forbid this guy comes across like a Roomba that makes him pass out from fear. You get a guy to blow the whistle by offering his workers a pay rise, and go to Barren Light. The peace talks are delayed because the other tribe hasn't said they're ready, but the mission you're on has a slight deadline. You speak to the guy in charge who's like,
nobody goes through the gate until the third clan arrives.
Nobody goes through the gate. Shut up. Looks like you didn't get through fast enough because Val has followed your scent and you're gonna have to find another way to ditch him. But for now, you go through the gate and meet with the Tanakh, which is the other tribe, to ask for passage into the west. Can you let us through?
No.
One guy decides to hear you out and after listening gives you his knife, which is a sign saying, she's alright. I should never say that again. Then the peace talks start but are interrupted by rebels because the Tanakh have a tiny civil war going on. Oh, and their leader Regala brought loads of robots since she can control them like you. What a show off. Everyone dies, it's very sad.
Yeah, boy.
You and Val obviously survive and these two other guys who... Never mind, it's you and this one other guy who... Never mind, it's just you, and when you kill enough people, Regala's main dude with a fancy shield is like, I'll handle this. He certainly handled dying very well. Regala runs away and bonus points, Val's struggling to walk, so you don't even need to ditch him this time. You take the main dude's shield that you can apparently use as a glider and go find Sylens' coordinates. He's not there, but he left a message.
What's up, Aloy? I put Hades in this metal ball. Please let me feel the sweet release of death. Yeah, he's enjoying himself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go drag my balls over there.
Sylens ended up dragging Hades to this facility for some reason. You plug into it, and Hades sort of just talks about this not being the first time he had to delete life on Earth. Yeah, it's weird stuff. Anyway, bye-bye. Once again, Sylens FaceTimes you. The reason he brought you here is because behind that door is some Gaia backups. Fair play to Sylens, he may be a bit acoustic, but you can't deny results. The door is blocked by some red crystals, so after taking some 4090s from a group of nearby robots, you create an igniter that... It does that. Inside is some parkour that I struggled with more than the average gamer, and a big spider that I hope isn't going to come alive. Oh good, it's just a storage device. Would it not have been easier to just put them on a USB stick in someone's office? Continuing Sylens' uncanny ability to be right all the time, there's two backups in here, but they don't have any sub-functions. For more details, see my Horizon Zero Dawn. When Gaia self-destructed that one time, its sub-functions were scattered across the world, with Minerva being the only one like, right here, you bitch. That's enough to get the cogs turning, so fuck it, let's go get it. An alarm goes off because there's an intruder, but unless it's Sobek, there ain't no way they're getting through that door.
Genetic profile confirmed.
It wasn't Sobek, revived from the dead, like Jesus, ready to save the world. It's a group of people that are so modern they probably know the difference between double and triple ply toilet paper. And they have a clone of Sobek who takes the other Gaia back up, but also starts fucking with the machine so you get found. When they see you, they're sort of just like, what the fuck, that's kind of weird. And one of them tries to kill you. They have like shields that make arrows have the same consistency as a floaty pool noodle. So you make the big spider fall, then accidentally flood the place, get spat outside, and wash up on the shore in a random place where nobody will probably find you. Oh yeah, I forgot Val exists. You pass out for 2 days and wake up in a camp having relinquished your ability to walk. You want to go find Minerva, but Val says you should talk to this girl he met because there's been some trouble in that area or something. Also, you can't walk, but anyway, this girl Zoe is singing to a dying robot because her entire tribe thinks they're gods. She tells you the mountain where Minerva is has been spitting out angry robots that are harassing her tribe, but to go inside you need permission off her main guys, and also you still can't walk. You go rest for a bit while Val puts in his own type of work. Val, don't fuck around. It's only been like 2 days. After reinstalling your ability to walk, you go to Plainsong and ask the main guys if you can go into the cave. I'm gonna simplify how this conversation goes. Can we go in? No. They don't get a choice though, because the defensive perimeter around the mountain is officially goners. When you get to the cave, there's a door. It's called a cauldron. It's been taken over by Hephaestus, a sub-function that sat at the crafting table building these robots, and you start overriding stuff, making it retreat further into the facility. Eventually, you come across one of Zoe's gods with like fucking scaffolding around it being whipped up into a weapon. Zoe's like, we can't have one of our gods attack the tribe. There might be a way to stop that. Since you're collecting the sub-functions, you try and snap Hephaestus up, but he pieces out. Minerva is further inside, but like an introverted person when their social battery dies, locks all the doors and tells you to fuck off. Eventually, you scramble through some vents into the system core, but before you can insert Gaia, it conceals its access hole. You ask it nicely to present its hole again, and it does, so you lube that shit up. Okay, let me stop. Minerva is added to Gaia, who now functions like a normal person. She makes this facility your base, and you ask her about those modern-looking amigos back at the other place. They were the ones related to that signal that woke up Hades, but also it was sent from like 8 trillion kilometers away. If you haven't figured it out, I won't judge you because it took me a minute. They were the descendants from Far Zeniths, whose ship blew up when they were trying to leave the planet. Yeah, so that was a lie. Anyway, Gaia sniffs out 3 more sub-functions. Luckily, they didn't get scattered over to Bali for a 2-week holiday. They're just down the road. There's also Big Heffy, but he's evolved a fair bit, and Gaia will only be able to sort him out when you've got the other 3. Let's go get Aether first, for the all-important reason of it had the lowest level requirement, and I like things to be easy. Val stays behind to get Erend and bring him to the new base, and Zoe wants to stay behind and learn about Gaia and shit.
Maybe by the time you get back, I'll have a thing or two I can teach you.
Looking forward to it.
Bro, how is it even in games I'm third wheeling? You head over to where Aether be chillin' and find a Tanakh stronghold. They don't kill you on sight because you earned a fair bit of street cred when you beat Regala's main guy, and instead take you to speak to Chief Hecaro. While in there, you scan the room and find that the Aether is right underneath where he parks his bum. You're like, can I have the thing under your bum, please? What the fuck? He says you can have it if you help him get more marshals, which are like the lieutenants of his crew because Regala reduced his remaining stock to just 1 guy with half an arm. They have a competition called the Kulrut, where whoever kills a robot gets to be a marshal, but he's worried that Regala will attack it to kill him, and another clan isn't sending any people because they're scared. You head to Stonecrest to meet Katalo. He is the last remaining marshal. He's also a guy with more limbs than personality. He takes you to the Bulwark to speak to the Sky Clan about firing some of their guys over to become marshals, and their leader is like, fuck no, we have a war. While that's very Donald Trump of him, you decide to pose a very convincing argument in the form of the slight destruction of that wall, and the only response to that is sending your guys to the Kulrut along with a slight fuck you. You go back to Hecaro and he gives you the job of watching a barricade because he's damn sure Regala will be hiding in a nearby bush wanting to penetrate his chest with a pointy stick, and almost immediately robots come running out of the forest like a herd of Olympic sprinters right into the warm embrace of your big cannon. But one of them happens to know the move Dig, and it's super effective. Regala then goes to kill Hecaro while you're left to beat my meat. She almost kills Hecaro, but you and Katalo foil her plans, so she has to run away shouting, I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Bro, your whole thing is that you use a bow. Just shoot her, please. Anyway, you can investigate under Hecaro's chair and you acquire yourself an Aether. Also, Katalo decides to come with you. You know, he may have the cynical outlook of a kid who listens to My Chemical Romance, but I kind of like him. He's like a one-man army. Back at the base, Erend has found the wonderful beats of drum and bass using the focus, and Val is fending off the thirsty grippers of Zoe with all his might. You add Aether to the cooking pot, and Gaia tells you she got the location of another sub-function, so you go and take a look with Val and Erend. There's a Far Zeniths shareholder currently scrapping with some tribe guys, but they have this device that melts her shields like it's a glacier after cars were invented. So one of them manages to kill her, and the others exit stage left when the device explodes. A bit of investigation shows that modern Mandy was sent to retrieve the asset, while the tribe guys were testing out this weapon. It's too hot to touch at the moment, though, so you leave it alone. I like to think that's the reason why the female population tends to leave me alone too. Now, where could this asset be? Inside is a ruin with that other Sobek clone stored here like a stack of diamonds in your secret chest. Her name is Beta, and while the details of how she ended up in the freezer with the Gaia backup remain unknown, she's alive and left a message for you basically saying,
Bro, those Far Zenith guys are cracked at Fortnite.
Before you can process their Fortnite abilities, you're attacked by a Spectre, which are those jiggly wiggly robots the Far Zeniths have as pets. All that technology and they still couldn't figure out how to make these things arrow-proof. There's another one outside. It's the same story, just with Erend tanking hits like he's the hardest man alive. The boys take Beta back to the base while you go look at that weapon, because you've got a feeling removing creative mode from the moderners would be sorta helpful. When you get back, you talk to Beta, who's like, your focus is primitive, but could I use one? Bro, that's primitive. Get off your futuristic high horse, you clone bitch. Through her, you figure out the moderners lived on the other planet for a bit and then came back after a natural disaster. Also, it's not their descendants, it's the original Far Zeniths. They just did some biological magic to live for 1,000 years. On a side note, that was around 2064, so they're probably Gen Z, and that is what I'm going to call them from now on. She thinks Gen Z want to wipe wipe the Earth clean and has an existential crisis. Meanwhile, you ask Gaia to figure out that weapon, and she's like, I don't fucking know. The only thing you work out is that Sylens used his huge brain to make it, and Gaia tells you to get back to work. Next is Poseidon. Why? Remember when I said,
Let's go get Aether first for the all-important reason of it had the lowest level requirement, and I like things to be easy.
That's why. Get your favorite gambling hat on, because we're heading to Vegas. You find yourself in the company of 3 Oseram guys who came for their own stuff. Only problem is Poseidon flooded the deck, and your human lungs aren't equipped to deal with the payload. However, these Oseram guys are inventors, and with your help, they produce a snorkel, making the water succumb to your oxygenated might. As you might expect from a water level, there's aquatic robots that have flopped into this place and decided to call it home. Normally that would be fine, but they're in the way, so you have to pull the plug. Literally. There's a big robot between you and Poseidon, but that's literally what your entire identity revolves around, so... With Poseidon in your back pocket, you go back home and shove it into Gaia. Feel like there's no better way to say that. Good news, Beta has recovered from her existential crisis and has information. One of the Gen Zers might be nice. What a revelation. Only one more subfunction left. Demeter's coordinates take you to violence from the looks of things. This ruin is being occupied by some guys who live by the motto, shoot first, ask questions later, and Mum always told you to treat people how you would like to be treated. There's a door locked by some leaves that are from a metal flower designed to help with the apocalypse from the last game. There's a hologram like,
these flowers were being worked on at Test Station Ivy. In other words, go that way, you bitch.
On the way, you practice some WWE moves on some bad guys and find their lieutenant, who's dressed like a milkmaid. Her name's Alva. She's part of a pyramid scheme called the Quen, who basically just exist to find stuff out about the old ones. That's what they're doing here, and you're like, I'm looking for Test Station Ivy. I will help, even though you just murdered all my men. We've been through this before. Big facility, there's many secrets, unnecessarily large robot that wants you dead. It's a standard procedure, really. You find a module to disable those flowers by hitting them a few times like you're going for a home run in Wii Sports, and that door at the start is just begging to be unlocked. Behind it is Demeter, meaning you have all the functions needed to get Hephaestus, and you give Oliver the data she was looking for too. While little remains of her crew try to shoot you, but she's like, guys, you wouldn't want to shoot Elizabeth Sobek. But she killed all our men. Yeah, but... data. Okay, that seems fair. Alva says you can come round to a house in San Francisco sometime if you want, but first you have that other job, you know, the one that saves the world. You take Gaia and multiply it by Demeter to get still Gaia, but with Hef's capturing abilities. Beta came up with a plan to catch it by putting Gaia in a data core within a cauldron and connecting them via an Ethernet cable, but all that ruckus might get the attention of the Gen Zers, so Katalo, Zoe, and Val should go to other cauldrons and just start smashing pans together or whatever to disguise it. But up until now, you've been using your Sobek privileges to be like, I command these subfunctions, get inside my hard drive. And Hef wrote that code out of his script, meaning you need a higher level clearance from Ted Faro. If you don't know who that is, boy do I have the place for you. Ted's got a bunker in San Francisco, and that just happens to be the place where Alva just invited you to, so you grab a canoe and sail across the ocean like you're Christopher Columbus, except you know where you're going. The Quen still trusts you less than the average politician, so you're taken to Overseer Bohai because he wants to figure out if you're actually Sobek or just a ditto with the imposter ability. Although he oversees, he's not the guy in charge. That belongs to CEO. That's either his name or he's asked his friends to call him that. Either way, weird guy. Given the Quen's existence consists of rummaging through every hard drive to ever exist, they know where Ted's party bunker is and offered to share the secrets with you in exchange for the removal of the giant death robot camping outside it. Possible death due to cyberpunk T-Rex that can kill you in multiple ways. Secrets from the party bunker. Seems like a fair trade. Alva is in the fort that was being aggressively humped by the T-Rex, and after speaking to her about the fact that her boss is a bit fucking weird, he shows up to give you a tour of the party bunker, except it's locked, so you have to find another way in. Probably for the best, really. It gave CEO a chance to change into his Ted costume, because he genuinely believes he is him. Oh, and don't worry, he has a Sobek costume just for you, too, that you have to wear, otherwise he'll shoot the milkmaid. With that disturbing, unconsensual outfit change, you go into the bunker to find out what Ted got up to after the apocalypse. Him and this doctor guy went about stopping aging just like the Gen Zers. Seriously, what is with everyone's obsession with immortality? When will they focus on the important stuff? Like the Elder Scrolls 6. Eventually, Dr. Guy became Dr. Bye, cause he did. And Ted got left alone with only his ageless cells and slight mutations to keep him company. Hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Finally, the secrets of Ted Faro will be mine. Nope, I ain't dealing with that shit. Yeah, Ted's alive, but like the growls and stuff suggest he's probably not as human as he used to be. CEO is like, burn this shit and kill the witnesses, which is you. Also, burning Ted sends the bunker into meltdown, so not only is there some really dedicated Quen guys in your way, Like, have a day off, guys. Jesus. There's also lava coming out of the walls. Luckily, you get through fast enough to witness CEO get crushed by a big statue. Honestly, that would be game complete for me. I don't really need to see what happens next. Although you escape, Overseer Bohai is waiting outside.
Where is the CEO?
Would you believe me if I said he forgot his vape and went to go get it?
No. The CEO never forgets his vape.
Well, it's worth a try, I guess. In the end, he's sort of just like whatever, tells Alva to join your team and lets you go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention you picked up Ted's clearance to get Hephaestus. Was so distracted by the mutated Ted. Now it's time for Operation Bring Over Ominous Bros Stuff. You and Beta are going to merge Gaia and Hephaestus right after Beta's finished having another crisis because she thinks Gen Z are going to capture her again. You offer some comfort by saying you'll protect her. Not entirely sure how when your arrows affect them as much as a slight breeze on a summer's day, but it works. So I won't ask questions. You take Gaia to the cauldron with Val and Beta while everyone else is distracting Gen Z. Problem is, Hephaestus not really on board with your capturing idea and starts throwing robots at you and retreating further into the facility. When you follow him, he's like,
"Fucking leave me alone,"
and deploys his own special mega dinosaur robot, but you're strong enough to snap a Nokia brick in half, so... With nowhere else to go, you trap him in a jar and start the merge, which just involves you and Beta doing martial arts with LED lights. Beta also throws a bird at you, so now you can ride birds, I guess. Either one of you forgot to shower or the distraction didn't work, because the Gen Z has crashed through the ceiling. You get shot and Val tries to fight back, but gets stabbed and will now be stalking people in the afterlife. They retake Beta, things aren't looking great, but Tilda, one of the Gen Zers, switches teams suddenly. Could you maybe do that before my mate dies next time? She becomes a human flashbang and escapes with you. You might be wondering why she turned on her Gen Z compadres. The reason is very deep and meaningful. She, watched your entire life through one of your old focuses, and apparently that made her betray some guy she's known for 1,000 years. It's something to do with you resembling Elizabeth, like, what were you expecting from a clone? Okay, this next part's gonna take a lot of explaining, so I'm gonna do it as fast as possible. Right now, situation is pretty dire. We're down one Beta and one Gaia. On top of that, Sylens plans to get Regala to attack Hecaro, and once she wins, he's going to use her and the Tanakh to attack Gen Z with his shield melting weapon and kill them. While that's happening, Tilda wants to sneak in the back door, steal Apollo, and heal the world, and you're like, that's not good, loads of people are gonna die. So you get Tilda to FaceTime Beta, then secretly discuss something with her, and Beta is like, I can do that, yeah, and whatever that was means you don't need Regala's army to attack Gen Z, leaving you as Sylens' only option to attack Gen Z, which means you need a way to stop Regala, and the perfect way to do that is on a bird, apparently. But before you leave, Tilda is like, if you're gonna fly in, go and take this bomb thing and drop it on her, because that'll help somehow, and that's the plan. First things first though, have a funeral for Val, because he was slightly important. There's some birds on top of your base and you kidnap one, collect the bomb that Tilda mentioned, then fly to Hecaro's base that is all sorts of under attack. You use the bomb to turn off Regala's robots and find her about to kill Hecaro. You're like, bitch, fight me, and she's like, that's easy to say when you're on top of a machine. Wow, yeah, who would do that? Anyway, yeet. With Regala defeated, you get to decide whether she lives or dies, and all I'm saying is, it sounds like you're gonna need some cannon fodder, so it feels a bit weird, because she was literally just trying to kill everyone 5 minutes ago, and now she's acting like she's been attending your birthdays since you were 5. After those hijinks, Sylens FaceTimes you like,
"What the fuck, Aloy? You've totally gone and fiddled with my plans."
well, I liked your plan, apart from the fact that I didn't, so I changed some things. You tell him to meet at your base with everyone else to go over the plan. Basically, don't die, guys. I see. Very clever. On the down low, you tell Katalo and the Milkmaid to hack the Gen Z network because Tilda is less trustworthy than a RuneScape player offering to trim your armor for free, and go to meet everyone at the secret tunnel that will be used to get onto the island. You and Eren take Sylens' weapon through about 15 jiggly wiggly robots, but this Gen Z base keeps pumping them out like they're iPhones in a sweatshop. It's all good though, because remember the secrets you discussed with Beta before? That was a plan to use the 3D printer in the Gen Z's back garden as a crafting table for Hephaestus to make an army of mega dinosaur robots that will fight the Jiggly Wiggly robots, giving you a window of opportunity to meet up at the base with the rest of the gang. On the way, Regala gets into a 5-way with some Jiggly Wigglies, giving up her life. This would be more sad if she wasn't one of the main villains for most of the game. Having an army of robots fighting on your doorstep makes a lot of noise, and the Gen Z has come out. I thought it was just the 3 of them, but from the looks of things, they use their cheat codes to spawn in 7 more. Sylens just fucking whips that shield EMP right at the Gen Zers, and it melts their shields. Random side effect, also aggroes all the robots on them. The two main guys are like, fuck this. And you go to get Beta and Gaia, but psych, one of them was actually waiting to attack you like he hasn't just been nerfed into the ground. With your never-ending supply of arrows that you just keep pulling out of your ass, you hit him in the face enough times for Zoe to come in and steal your kill. Now you just need to get Beta and Gaia. As you're climbing the tower, Alva lets you know that she got into the Gen Z network.
Holy shit, Aloy, you need to see this. The Gen Zers have a TikTok account.
More importantly, they were going to leave Earth because of something called Nemesis. You save Beta and tell her to search for it, and whatever it is has been stalking them from the other planet. Maybe it's Val reincarnated. You're interrupted by Tilda, who just killed the last Gen Z guy, and she tells you that Nemesis was created when they tried to upload all their brains onto the cloud. It sent the signal that woke Hades, but when you shut that down, it was like,
fuck it, guess if you need job doing, you have to do it yourself.
Tilda's gonna jump on a ship with Gaia to make another planet to live on and tries to kidnap you since she fancies Elizabeth, but you're like, no thanks, so she spawns in a jiggly wiggly robot mech suit to kidnap you by force. I'm sure you can predict how this goes. After the fight, Sylens appears. Sylens, this is terrible. There's an entity called Nemesis on its way here. It's gonna kill us all, and the Gen Zers have a TikTok account. I've known about Nemesis since the start of the game. What? Yeah, Hades told Sylens everything, and he's gonna peace out on that ship, but feels left out when he sees everyone being friends and changes his mind. Anyway, that's the end of the game. Nemesis will be dealt with when Horizon Disallowed North comes out.